28 years after the rage virus changed horror forever, Danny Boyle is back. But was 28 years later the apocalyptic epic we hope for, or just another zombie sequel?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Michael and Trevor Show. I'm Trevor,
And I'm Michael.
and on today we will be talking about the long-awaited sequel to 28 Days Later, 28 Years Later.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one. So, this movie was directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland. Very prolific writers and directors there. Alex Garland with some big movies out in the past couple years. But anyways, this movie stars three main people. Probably want to shout out. We got Aaron Taylor Johnson as Jamie. We got Jodie Comer as Isla, and then the son. He plays a 12-year-old boy named Alfie Williams. His name's Spike. So this movie, as you might know if you've seen this before, it's a post-apocalyptic zombie thriller. Give us a little bit synopsis on IMDb for the movie.
Yeah, so a new wave of infections goes all over Europe, dragging survivors into a brutal journey through a war-torn quarantine zones, and morale collapses.
There you go. There's a little bit of a synopsis into the movie, but this was a fun one. I mean, me and Trevor looked forward to this. First two movies came out in the early 2000s. I actually haven't seen, I've seen part of the first one. I just never really got to watching them before. I definitely want to check them out now. How about you? Have you watched the first two movies?
I've seen a little bit of the first movie, and I
Okay.
will say, just for everyone to know, you don't really need to watch any of the prior movies to understand what's going on in this, which is nice.
Yeah, you definitely don't. This is, even though it's kind of a sequel, it's more of like a setup movie for there's future movies coming out
Correct.
for this as well. So I didn't really have too much expectation going into this. I do love zombie thrillers, like infected type of movies like this. So I was excited going into it. I mean, how did you feel going into it?
I was very excited for this movie. I will say the marketing for this movie is a little different than what actually is in the movie. So just tame your expectations a little if you are excited for a super zombie, action movie.
Yeah, where it's like gory and all of that
Yes,
fun stuff.
you do have that gore, but there's a lot of heart to this movie as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I mean, one of the things, I feel like the first hour of the movie was really intense. There were some really intense moments when it comes to more of like the zombie, like them going onto the mainland into the zombie infested world. There's like this 12-year-old boy, you're wondering what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half of the movie is kind of more unexpected what it turns into. It doesn't
Yes,
touch as much on like the zombie infected side of things. It's
it
kind of interesting.
kind of becomes a coming of age story, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially setting up for the next movies.
It does. Let's just say Aaron Taylor Johnson's not in the movie for a lot,
Yeah, I was kind of
which
surprised
I
about
was
that.
very surprised about that. This is not spoilers, but he's not in the movie for a long time.
Yeah, it kind of sounded like it was going to be the story of the father and son, and then kind of just after that first scene when they came back, and then you just didn't see much of him. Don't know if he had like another movie to film or that's just how it was
Yeah,
written.
who
I'm not
knows?
sure what happened.
But hey, I won't complain. It went in a different direction, like we've said, but I'm happy with the way it ended. There are some things I really loved about this. There also are a few things I'm not a
Yeah,
huge fan of. There are a few tone changes throughout the movie, starting off with the, average two men out in the woods trying to, teach his son how to do something.
yeah,
And then that plot kind of dies. There's something that happens. We then focus on Alfie and another character. And then that kind of progresses towards the end of the movie. And then, with about 5 minutes left, there is some crazy stuff that goes down, which is tonally different. It's filmed differently.
yes.
And
Are you talking about like the end scene, basically,
like
the last 5 minutes?
the last few minutes of
Okay.
there. It's just, it ends on a different way. I liked it, but I also didn't like it at the same time. But it definitely sets up the second movie, and that's going to be the Bone Temple.
Yes. The reason I totally get what you mean when you say you like it and don't like it. I don't feel like I like it, but again, it sets up the second movie, and there's an opening scene that kind of just makes no sense until the end of the movie. You see like why that happened a little bit. So that's part of, I guess, why I did like it, because it kind of brought the whole thing full
Yeah,
circle.
absolutely
But
it
again,
does.
it just was like a whole tone shift. Like it didn't fit the vibe of what had just happened in the movie
And that's
at all.
it doesn't fit this movie, but who knows about what's happening in the next movie.
Yes.
I definitely will say this movie has some art house styles, just with the interjections of some videos and some media with the people with the archery or the deer with the red lights going
Yeah.
on. There were, I mean, it's a very creative way to film a movie
It was
and
different.
edited. I think it was edited well. I thought the trailer for this movie was one of the best edited trailers I've seen, if not ever. I mean, it got me excited
Yeah, the
for
trailer did
the
get me
movie.
excited. But I think too, and you said this was filmed on like iPhones. I
This
don't know how
was,
much that
yeah.
affects anything,
Now,
but
some with iPhones, but with lenses on it. So you're just
okay.
not pulling out your iPhone 16 and filming things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, an iPhone camera's pretty good, but to film a movie, yeah, I get that. But yeah, some of the shots were kind of weird. Like they felt clunky a little bit, but I like that because again, it like the movie had like very claustrophobic scenes like that. I like it kind of clunky like that. Like when they're in the house
Mhm.
and the zombies are chasing them and like they're trying to get to the attic, you're like, oh my god, like are they gonna make it? I like that.
And I will say, going along with that, if you were to told me this movie was filmed 15 years ago, I'd believe you.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a modern day
No,
movie. And
that
I didn't see the first two. What
yeah.
was the first one? Did was it filmed
The
kind of like that?
first one was filmed very differently. It
Oh,
was with
really?
an old camera. It's not
Okay.
even an HD camera. I think it was a digital, but I don't think you can even get this movie. Like I have a good version of it that I got from actually a bootleg service, and it just doesn't look great. It's never going to look great. It's meant to be kind of very gritty.
Okay.
So that's why in this movie it is a different type of look to it.
Yeah.
I will say some of the really cool parts about this is the things that they could do having it shot with iPhones.
Yeah.
I've seen the rigs that they use to get some of these flash scenes. Whenever you get, as you know, the zombies would get an arrow through their head, you'd see one angle, then another angle right
That was
away,
cool. I
which
like how they
was
did that. It
fantastic
almost like
editing.
it reminds me of like a video game almost. Like
Yes,
when you play that and it kind of like wraps
it's
around as
cutscene. Yeah,
yeah, kind of like a cutscene. Yeah.
and the cool thing with that is I saw the rigs. There was about like 15 cameras lined up on every
Oh,
side,
okay.
so you could get one shot here, one shot here, one shot here, and it's a cohesive scene, but it's very jarring to watch. Which I feel like in a situation like they were in, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I thought I liked how it was shot and it had me engaged the whole time.
Absolutely.
So I'm happy with it. But I think we should talk about I guess some of the characters. We already touched on Aaron Taylor Johnson's character
Mm-hmm.
who like he wasn't in it for the second half of the movie really. I thought he was going to play more a part. Now, I think how it ended, I think he will be in the next
Yes.
one probably because he finds out that his son is out there in the wild, and I think maybe he's going to be like searching for him or
Uh-huh.
something in the second movie. But really it follows, like you said, the coming of it's kind of like a coming of age story for it's usually like once they turn 15 or something they can go out and try to like kill the infected people, I guess, or
Mm-hmm.
something. But he's like 12 years old, so he's a little bit younger. But the second half is kind of following him, and can we say like who he's with in the
Yeah,
second
Jodie
part?
Comer's
Joey
character.
Comer's character, who's his mom, trying to figure out what's wrong with her because it's obvious that she's going through some like physical health issues. So they're like trying to find a doctor out there. What did you think about how the movie shifted into that?
This is where I have an issue with the film.
Yeah.
This is going to be a little bit of spoilers, so I know the movie's a little newer. So if you don't want to watch this, skip it a little bit. I'll skip, a few minutes. So Jodie Comer's character, she's bedridden.
Yeah.
She's very sick. She can't do much. So Alfie actually goes out with his mom. She goes from being bedridden to being able to walk
Walk probably
into the
like 20
forest.
miles.
Yes,
Yeah.
walk all this, and then they find this doctor who's actually played by Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah.
That's one of the only issues I have with the movie is how can somebody be going from they have this thing that's wrong with them. We're not going to say what happens at the end, but something is wrong with the character. She's bedridden. Then she can walk 10, 15 miles and be okay. Does not make any sense. Do I have an issue with it a little bit, but is it gonna define the movie for me. Not at all.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Like she basically seems like she's gonna, die in bed there, and then she just walks with him, all those miles. But um, I thought it was kind of cool how it brought the doctor into it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because we heard a little bit about him, so we really weren't sure what his deal was. Come to find out, he's actually not a terrible person. I
No,
mean, we're in spoilers. We could talk about that. I know you don't want to bring up what happens, but I kind of want to mention something with that, maybe.
the ending. What
Yeah, the
happens?
ending, I just thought, I don't know if anyone saw it, like what they thought, but I just thought, he's sitting there with the baby, which that was a crazy scene, by the
Yes,
way. They helped an infected person deliver a baby.
I never thought I'd see a zombie baby delivery, but it happened.
Yeah, so that was kind of crazy, and then basically he finds out that his mom isn't going to make it, and the doctor, like,
Puts her
basically
out of her misery.
puts her out of her misery,
Basically
and
takes the dog behind the barn and shoots it.
yeah, and then he gives Alfie, or sorry, his name's Spike in the
Spike,
movie,
yeah.
the skull, and I'm just like he just was with his mom and now he's not, and you just gave us, and it's like kind of like a wholesome moment, but I'm like, this is like so sad.
There were people in our theater who laughed during that scene.
Yeah,
Granted, PSA for anyone who's out there: do not talk during a movie. It is the most annoying thing in the world.
yeah, they were like teenagers talking during the movie.
Yes.
Hey, if you see this out here and you were at the movie, you suck. Be better next time.
Don't talk, please. But there it was definitely like I could see people. I've seen some reviews of people actually crying in the movie.
Yeah,
It was a heartbreaking part of the film, and that's where the kind of tonal things mess with it a little bit for me, because you go into this expecting to be this zombie, horror action movie,
yeah,
and then at the end you have the kid's mom die,
yeah. Well,
not from a zombie.
yeah, not from a zombie. But maybe that was the point, that it wasn't supposed to be as much about that. And there were like some disgusting parts. So there's this thing called the alpha, that they basically rip your head out and you can, like, see your spine or something.
It's nasty.
You see your spine. So that part was disgusting. That is the one time I probably laughed in the movie. I don't know if there were supposed to be like funny parts, but these alpha things they weren't wearing any clothes, and let's just say, yeah,
You saw hogs, man.
yeah,
Hog out, man.
oh my god, that it was just funny. Just go see it. But yeah, I mean,
Aaron Taylor Johnson's character was great. Jodie Comer's character was very, very good.
Yeah,
And I think the standout is Spike in the movie.
definitely.
He actually is the lead actor.
Let me see if I can see how old he is.
He
Yeah, he is
must
the
be
lead
10
actor.
or 12 or something. I'm not sure if they'll put it up on IMDb,
Yeah,
but
probably
hey, who
not.
knows? But he really stands out. I know it looks like 2011 he was born.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he's a young kid.
2011. So he's probably like 13,
yeah,
14.
props to him though. He really carried the movie.
He did.
I mean, you would think with three huge actors like Ralph Fiennes, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Jodie Comer, they would be the backbone of the movie, which
Yeah.
they are. But you really have Alfie or Spike's character leading the way, and I think it's going to be interesting seeing his character progress throughout the next three
Yeah.
films.
And
So-
that's like one of the things too. And maybe that's just how it works in movies, but it's a total switch up. Like, he goes out into the wild with his dad. He's like all scared. He can't even hit the infected people because he's all nervous. And then he sees his dad basically have an affair, and then he gets angry and takes his mom out into the wild, and then just becomes a freaking beast.
Yeah, so good for him.
So good for him.
I did want to also touch base about these zombies. There is a lot of lore since the 28 years have passed.
Yeah.
The zombies have adapted.
Oh,
So there are a
okay.
lot of different zombies. You have the alphas who are huge. You have, I don't know what those are, but they're like the fat blob worm people,
Yeah.
which are creepy.
They're creepy,
Those people are really creepy.
but they're so slow.
They are. And I also, while we're talking about this, I just want another spoiler. I want to talk to you about this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember whenever Spike is sleeping with the mother, they're outside,
Yeah.
and the zombie goes to kill them, and then the mom puts the bag over him and kills him?
Oh, yeah.
How does she know how to do that? And where did she get all the energy from?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's been 28 years, so I mean, they probably had to fight off some zombies in their day.
That's true.
So, I mean, that's probably what happened. But yeah, they didn't go into too much of a backstory about like their lives, or didn't really like go over much of the world building aspect of it. But I think that's, again, this is a setup movie. Even though it's a sequel, it's a setup for the
Mhm.
next movie. So I think it's going to explore a lot of things more in the second and third movie.
I agree, and I am excited to see what happens in the next two movies.
Yeah.
So, Michael, do you have any final thoughts for me?
Final thoughts. Again, different movie. I love zombie infected world type of movies. I thought they did a good job. I liked the way it looked, even though that's a little bit controversial. So overall, I'm just super excited for the second movie. Like the way it ended, I just wish we didn't have to wait probably another year or two for the next movie to come out. But should I get into my rating now or
Let's
wait?
get into ratings. Let's
Okay,
get into ratings
let's
here.
get into my rating. So I just do letterbox here. I gave it a 4 out of 5. We had about a day to let this sit with us since
Hmm.
we've filming this podcast here. I think this is going to sit well. I actually see myself wanting to see this movie again,
Agreed.
and just looking forward to the next movie in the next year or two,
Yeah,
if we know when that's coming out.
it's coming out in January.
Oh,
Only a
okay,
few months.
that's not that long then.
So I really like this movie. Like Michael said, it was filmed very well. I am excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
There are a few flaws, but maybe we'll find out what happens, within the next few sequels. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving this movie 4.5 out of 5,
Oh, okay.
9 out of 10 on IMDb. I'm excited to be in this universe.
Yes.
I want to see what happens character wise and story wise. And I did hear that Killian Murphy might make an appearance in the third movie.
Yes.
So get excited for that. I'd love to see where his character's at after the original 28 Days Later movie.
Yeah, so definitely check this out. Watch the originals if you haven't. I still need to watch the original two movies, and you'll hear us, I guess, reviewing the sequel in a couple months here.
Absolutely. We do have some really cool things coming up, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Next week, we actually do have a special podcast. We are going to see the movie F1 in
Ooh,
4DX.
yeah,
So get ready for that.
that's gonna
Make
get
sure you
crazy.
watch that video and also, obviously, this video.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for watching. I'm Michael. Just kidding. I'm Trevor.
And I'm Trevor, and I'm Michael.
And thank you guys. Have a great one.
All right, peace.